What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today we're talking about triangle traits in Orcs Must Die Unchained. Should be the last of the trait videos, as I've covered both Pentagon and Diamond traits, and I'll have these all in a playlist shortly so that you can take a look at all of them if you want to see them all back to back. Either way, triangle traits are sort of a mixed bag of bonuses that you're able to get. They affect things like HP regeneration, like just giving you static HP, or mana regeneration as you're playing the game, something that you normally already have mana regen, but HP regen was a feature that existed in the game a very long time ago, and then it was since removed to sort of up difficulty in the challenge, mainly after the game had gone through a number of revisions in its open beta. Either way, all of these traits have some very powerful effects, but they are extremely situational. However, when paired with the right character or situation, they become extremely powerful. And I think I'm going to try to talk about just the slot matching bonuses first, because there's a lot of details that you can go over with these traits that would take a bit of time to explain, especially with things like the discounts. But, we're going to glance over them. I got time, so hopefully you're willing to listen. Either way, if you look at the Kidnapped by a Leprechaun or Kidnapped a Leprechaun, this is one of the first traits that you're able to get in this trait category, and it gives you bonus gold. Now, 500 gold doesn't seem like a lot, but seeing as this is something that you can obtain in Apprentice, this is effectively another spike trap at no charge, and it gives you coin income per second. Now, the coin income per second is relatively weak, especially early. However, you do have access to use this with Max, and Max effectively has a efficiency multiplier for his coin due to the fact that all of his traps have reduced costs. Now, you can pair this with additional discounts, and this actually becomes somewhat useful once you stack 2 or 3 discounts, as with Max alone, with Max and a couple of traits, you can get your traps down to somewhere around 72 to 50% cost. A little bit above 50% is the max without actually using consumables. And that's pretty powerful. Like, if you think about just the amount of starting gold that you get, which is 9,000 in a game, if you're playing a solo max with stacked discounts, then you can effectively double your starting gold, which means double the traps, which, as you know, would make things much easier when you start. So 1 coin per second is okay when you have it available. If there's nothing that really fits the situation better, it can benefit you, and in multiplayer situations it does become a little bit more important due to the fact that gold is split between all 3 characters, and all 3 characters can have this perk effectively giving you a combined 3 coin per second, regardless of whatever other traits and things that you might have. So it's not bad, but it's definitely not stellar. Then, of course, we move over to lightning deals. This has a slot matching bonus of regenerates 1% max health per second. Now, this seems to be, to me at least, one of the most powerful slot matching bonuses in the game. There's a couple of other triangle traits that have this bonus, and this bonus alone literally makes these traits useful even if you're not using any of the trait bonus whatsoever. Consider the fact that 1% max health per second is stronger than most of the other actual HP regeneration traits. And I think that's kind of important. You can stack them together and get around 2% HP regeneration per second, which may not seem like a lot, but considering traveling from like gate to gate, you're normally out of combat somewhere between 3 to 10 seconds at a time. You can actually regenerate a significant amount of HP. For the most part, they don't stop during combat either, so it becomes really difficult to kill you once you have that much HP regen going on. And because it's percentage based, it scales, you can throw it on a character like Hogarth, and then he just becomes a giant wall of frozen death. So, HP regeneration, amazing slot matching bonus, should not be overlooked. I know it's on lightning deals. I believe it also comes on Overprotective, and I think Natural Born Sperner. I think that's the last one. Nothing else possesses it, which is kind of sad. But because of that, Overprotective, Natural Born Sperner, and lightning deals are really good traits to get, even if you don't plan on making use of the other abilities. So we have that coin and mana regeneration. I believe. No, there are 4. All right, yeah. So this is the third bonus, and it's 12% mana regeneration. It's significant, but not too significant. You normally regenerate mana at about 2 per second. So a bonus 12% will mean that over 5 seconds you regenerate another 1.2 mana. Not that big of a deal for characters that are particularly mana hungry. This could be useful, but only if you are looking for the actual trait bonus as well, because you may not be in a lot of cases, because this is not on a lot of super interesting traits in my opinion. You have it on Hazard Trap Fetish, which is for HP regen. Generally tank characters don't have that much mana, and the mana regeneration isn't going to help that much, versus something like one with the traps where you get 1 mana per second, which is effectively a 50% bonus, but this only works when you're near your traps. I would probably say the mana regeneration bonus isn't really worth slotting if you have something else, but of course, if it's the only triangle trait that you're using, anything helps. So that's the second bonus, really not that useful. The third bonus is going to be 2.5% movement speed. Now, I haven't tested this specifically, but I'm not sure if that 2.5% movement speed is based on the character's default movement speed, or if it is a flat bonus to movement speed, regardless of whatever modifiers the character's movement speed has. So that'll be something interesting to pay attention to. I would probably have to set up a movement speed test with all the characters to actually see what the difference is, but I'm really not planning on doing that anytime in the near future, although I have some idea about how to set it up, because it is something that I've thought about for a while. That said, those are the 4 bonuses. You have the 1 coin regen per second, which is kind of weak, 2.5% movement speed, which is also not particularly amazing, 12% mana regeneration, which also doesn't seem particularly special, and then you have the 1% max health regen per second. So you can see why I think the health regen per second is really strong, especially since it's scaling. If you put it on somebody like Hogarth or Bloodspike, who can increase their maximum HP through combat activity, it scales with that, and that makes it even more powerful when a character can have, thousands of HP, and you're regenerating more than enemies can deal in damage. Like, you literally just get into a situation where the only reason you can lose is because enemies either don't aggro you or you can't kill anything, which is something that happens in this game in Endless. Enemies' HPs scales so enormously that eventually you just can't do anything about them. But that's another talk for another time. There we go. So looking at the bonuses for the skills themselves, again, they're very varied. If you look at Avoid's Pain, I think this was changed during the open beta so that you regenerate 0.5% of your max HP per second only when you're below 50% health. This means that when you're below half health, you'll get a bit of extra HP regeneration. It's meant to sort of keep you alive when your health gets low, It's better for melee characters, helps to keep them in the fight a little bit longer, or, sort of help them regen while they're retreating. And it's not bad. I would probably, if necessary, recommend something like Enjoys Pain, or what's the other one? Practices Witchcraft. If you need to make sure that you can maintain your HP while in the fight, as generally dealing damage will heal you more than waiting until you're below half health. And it's usually better to have something that's always on than something that's situational and only works when you're in a bad situation. That makes this particularly less useful than it could be otherwise. Then we have Big Spender. My opinion on economy traits or income traits is that the income traits are good when used in multiplayer. Income traits when used in multiplayer are amazing because everybody can stack them, and effectively you triple the benefits by making sure that everybody is bringing bonus coin. This can be due to parts like the subsidized parts, giving you 500 extra coin per trap that you have it slotted in, or this could be due to traits and everybody just taking those. So if you have a single player playing solo, you start with 9,000 coin. At the same time, this will give you 250 coin at the start of each wave. That's nice, but if you imagine playing with 3 players, all taking this trait, each player starts with 3,000 coin, which is significantly lower. So, you can't place as many traps per player. But at the same time, if they all take this trait, you're getting a total of 750 coin per wave. So, bonus coin, again, useful in multiplayer situations. I would highly recommend people consider taking parts and traits that give you bonus coin when playing with others, as it definitely helps. Then we have Easily Excited. This is interesting, and it's something that you can get relatively early. This allows your combos to fill your Unchained meter by 20% more. Now, I haven't tested the exact value of Unchained given per combo, but 20% more means that basically you'll need a fifth less combos to max your meter. And if you're somebody that likes to Unchained a lot, which is extremely useful when you're underleveled or at lower levels as far as your account level in gameplay, this is something that would probably really benefit you early on. Even if you're not going to put this in the triangle slot, you can put it in the all-purpose slot and you're pretty much good to go. You'll be unchaining all over the place, and if you pair this with difficulty cooling down, you will not only gain Unchained faster, but you will stay Unchained longer. So that's really useful and a nice pair of traits that combo together. Then we have Fire Sale. Fire Sale is one of our discount traits. They pretty much all work the same. The only thing you're going to want to consider is if you're taking more than one of these, which trait gets the slot magic bonus. And it's probably going to be lightning deals anytime lightning deals is taken, but a couple of these are pretty much just floating on the 1 coin per second. I think that's Fire Sale and Smashing Deals. Ice Cold Deals has the movement speed. Insane Arcane is the mana regen. And again, this is the coin per second. But yeah, the main purpose of these is to increase the efficiency of your coin. Now, you get a flat increase of coin when this is taken, regardless of how many people take it. If a single player takes this in a multiplayer group, that actually makes it actually isn't as useful. And that's because you're only getting a third of the coin to use this discount on. So this is effectively, even if you're using 100% fire traps, only a 5% discount at that point, unless everyone takes it. So that's why I personally see the increased coin bonuses like Big Spender being a bit more useful when you're in multiplayer, just because that stacking across multiple players is more useful than just say taking a single discount for the type of traps you'll be using. Now don't get me wrong, if you're using an entire fire trap setup, you should probably still take this, but there are some pros and cons and things to weigh based on who you're playing with, what maps you're on. But either way, if you're playing alone, you generally always want to have a discount. If there's any sort of theme you have going with your loadout, and you can discount heavily the cost of multiple traps in it, take a discount trade. Like, that's literally one of the best things you can do for yourself. It'll allow you to get your traps out sooner. It means that you'll be dealing damage faster, and it means that fewer things will be getting close to your rift, and that's ultimately what the game's about. So discount traits are great, probably some of the best triangle traits you will find. Definitely use them. Has a trap fetish. This is actually a really interesting trait. This is one of the few remaining pure HP regen traits. If you decide to stack something that has the HP regen in the triangle slot, you can put this in the all-purpose slot, and now you're rocking 1.6% HP regeneration whenever you're near your traps, and that's actually pretty sturdy. Again, like, there's a good amount of downtime just traveling between gates. This counts for every second that passes in game, whether it be a go break, while you're traveling, or even during fights. So that HP regeneration is nothing to scoff at. It can keep you from having to run back to your rift or carry healing wells. You still might have to be a bit careful, because unless you're Hogarth or Bloodspike, that isn't going to be a very huge amount of HP regeneration. Either way, it still works, and it's nice to have. So this is actually a very niche trait, but I definitely like it. Although the slot matching bonus probably could leave a bit more to the imagination. That it could be better. Like, if that was plus 24% mana regeneration, then it might be worth slotting in the actual slot, but otherwise not too much. Alright, Ice Cold Deals. Another discount. If you're using somebody like Hogarth or Tundra, I would probably recommend taking a few more ice traps and slotting this. Generally will help crowd control a ton of enemies very easily, and it'll be cheaper to do it. Insane Arcane. Insane Arcane sale is probably going to be the discount of choice for people who like to play Gabriella, Aziel, and Stink Eye, mainly because since they're also dealing arcane damage, they're going to be bringing arcane traps, and arcane traps reduce arcane armor, allowing arcane damage to deal more damage. So pairing the discount with it means that you can get more of those out sooner. The more variety of arcane traps that you have, the more armor you can reduce, and the more damage they deal overall. So that's probably a key trait to play those characters. If you don't have the traps, though, it's not really that big of a deal. But of course, if you're not using arcane traps, there's no reason to use arcane discounts. Alright, Kidnapped by a Leprechaun I mentioned earlier. It's one of the earliest traits you can get. It's just a free 500 gold. And again, if you're playing in multiplayer, this is something that I would definitely recommend, especially early on, because that gold is really good to start with. Then we have Lightning Deals. This is an amazing trait just because of the slot matching bonus. Sometimes I wind up taking this even when I don't have any lightning traps, just for the HP regen, although there are better choices. Making It Rain. So Making It Rain is an interesting and probably too good trait. It increases the bonus coin granted by combos by 30%. Now, it may not seem like a lot, but depending on how good your combo rate is, you can actually wind up, in some cases, doubling the amount of coin that you have by the end of a map. Now, for late maps, that's not going to seem like a whole lot, because it's going to be hard to move your traps around and actually set up solid combos quickly if you intend on parring it. But, combos are really something that are more geared towards players going for the leaderboards anyway. But it's great because the earlier you start dealing high combos, the more coin you get, and it basically allows you to just maintain that and set up your traps in new areas without having to sell everything, so you can maintain your combo count. It is probably going to be super important for people that are trying to get high combo scores on multi-lane maps. So if you're a combo player, making it rain is probably a trait that you rarely, if ever, take off. Of course, the slot matching bonus is not great, and the amount of bonus coin that you're going to get through combos is going to dwarf that so much that you might as well use it anywhere. Natural Born Sperner, 50% movement speed while Unchained. I feel like Bianca should be in that photo because that's basically who it's used for. There are some situations where your character can get so many speed buffs that they actually become sort of unwieldy. So I'm a little iffy about the trait bonus here. It's only during Unchained, but if I'm unchaining, I generally want to be able to put my damage in a place that makes a big impact as soon as possible, and moving faster generally doesn't feel like that's necessary. Like if I need to move faster, I generally don't want to waste my Unchained to get somewhere, and I don't know, like the idea of moving faster while Unchained seems pretty much only useful to melee characters. And a lot of melee characters already have solid, if not good, movement speed. Maybe somebody like Bloodspike this would be useful on. Again, Bianca, because she moves like a giant square-shaped wheel. It just doesn't work out too well for her if you got to travel a long distance. But because Bianca also has Unchained bonuses built into her weavers, this actually isn't a bad trait for her. Otherwise, equip it for the slot matching bonus because it's good, but you won't be needing the main trait bonus very often, if at all. Never pays retail. This, I feel, is the same problem as the other trait that was in the diamonds that decreases your respawn time. If you're dying a lot, there's already a problem. So saying, dying isn't quite as bad is kind of counterintuitive. Ultimately, you want to teach people not to die. So this trait is definitely going to need to be reworked significantly. Otherwise, it's kind of useless. Like, the slot matching bonus is not great, and the actual bonus is probably worse. So there's nothing really good about never pays retail. It feels like a junk item right now. One with the traps. So one with the traps is pretty much the only, well, no, it's one of, I believe, 2 ways of regenerating your mana passively, and it's actually a really good one. The bonus mana regeneration helps to fight off things like mana drain when you're in Chaos Trials. I believe the mana drain in Chaos Trials is equal to slightly more than your regen rate. This will slow that down and allow you to use more of your abilities. Now, you will still need to be able to regen your mana. It won't completely negate that, but if you were to take anything else that will give you mana regeneration, this will stack on top of it and then basically make that a lot more manageable. So one with the traps is actually really good. Even outside of Chaos Trials, if you're a mana heavy character, taking one with the traps is not a bad idea. So this is actually a really solid trait. If you get it early, that's great. Feel free to play around with it. You probably won't need to use it on characters that don't have mana, like Temper, and I believe Elin, when she drops, is also not going to have mana. She has an energy system, so only if a character has mana are you going to want to really think about bringing this, and they don't have any way to auto-replenish it themselves like Stink Eye. But still, on characters like, say, Smolder or Deadeye, this isn't a bad trait to have at all. Overachiever. So This is a one and done trait. You equip it, it has an effect at the start of the match, that's it. You start with enough experience to get your hero up one additional level. That means you get to select a Weaver at the start of a map, and for whatever that Weaver is worth, you get its bonus immediately. Now, some players like to do things like pick Max, equip Overachiever, and then take his coin regeneration. If you do, the coin regeneration will actually trigger while you're in the first goal break for a game. So you can sort of use that to acquire a bit of bonus gold. Now, since the devs had recently extended the initial goal break if you're playing alone, that actually can add up to a decent amount of gold or coin. And that coin, combined with discounts again, especially since you're playing max, can actually do some really crazy things. Like, I've heard of people throwing up, like 90 arcane ballistas, the dragon lances, on a map or wave 1, and just like decimating things. It probably wasn't actually 90. It was probably somewhere around like 50. But either way, thinking about being able to throw up 50 traps, even if it was just spike traps, wave 1 on a map is quite ridiculous. So this is a powerful trait, and there are ways to get this bonus without using this trait, but I think that this may actually play a bit more into the way Sabotage works currently, mainly because Sabotage has very limited amounts of XP that you're able to gain, and having an extra level is actually really powerful there, as it'll allow you to hit your Weaver sooner and make defending your Rift that much easier. Especially since you also get an HP and attack power increase for your hero because of that level. Definitely a good idea to try this out on a few heroes to see what you like about it when you get it. But overall, I think Overachiever is really nice. Then we have Overprotective. This used to be bugged, and I apologize, but I have a video of me, like, before I even realized that this was bugged in the past, of Blood Spike going into Endless and basically having indestructible barricades. Now, this is no longer that broken, but it is still really, really good. 25% less damage taken by traps near the hero will include any traps that normally suffer from damage. That includes barricades, the summoner trap, and decoys. So this will keep those alive longer, and also you can use it to trigger whatever bonus effects that you may have on those due to parts. So if you have reflecting damage or a damage reduction on those particular traps, this will allow them to go even farther. You'll get more bang for your buck. But when you're in maps where you have to dance around your barricades a lot, or for whatever reason there's a ton of firelings, this is going to help you not have to worry about your traps blowing up nearly as often, and would probably be really important for the way that Throne Room is set up right now. So if you're having trouble in Throne Room, feel free to try out Overprotective. I think it's a really niche trait, but at the same time, the usefulness of it can't be overstated. Of course, if you're in Endless, eventually they get enough damage to just blow it up anyway, but it will help you to get a bit farther, and it has that awesome slot matching bonus of the 1% HP regen. So that's good too. Overall, I think Overprotective is a very good trait, if only for the slot matching bonus, but the trait bonus itself is actually pretty nice too. Then we have Over-Reactive. This is the other mana regen trait. This is 1 mana regeneration per second when health is below 50%. This I'm also not a fan of, because you have to be in a dangerous situation before it kicks in. I could see them maybe thinking that otherwise it would have been a bit too powerful, but And I think this was nerfed a while back, like in open beta. But either way, I don't really like the way that it's set up right now because I don't like being at half health. If you're taking anything that allows your HP to regenerate, and I usually have siphons at my traps, that's going to make sure that I'm not at below 50% HP for long. And that means that this just won't be a useful trait. The slot matching bonus is movement speed 2, and most decent characters in the game have a solid amount of movement speed. You generally don't need more, so this probably isn't going to be a great trait. And then we have Rift Gift. Rift Gift is interesting because what it does is refill your mana and HP when you destroy an unstable rift. It's kind of like hitting Unchained, only without the damage bonus and the glowy golden effects. It's interesting, it's nice, but you'll probably only find this being super useful on assassin characters, probably Midnight, Blood Spike, maybe Deadeye. But anybody that can hit something really hard, really fast, and regenerate their HP and mana is going to enjoy this. I say Blood Spike because its execution currently works on rifts, and with it being an HP and mana regeneration bonus, it's actually going to be really good anytime you have any sort of drains going on. So it's a very niche trait. I don't use it a lot, but I think it has its uses. Rift Rocket is another one. Gives you a 50% movement speed bonus for 5 seconds after destroying an unstable rift. Pretty much don't feel like this one is even that necessary at all. Even if you do have some issues destroying unstable rifts, like this is a short movement speed bonus afterwards, and it really seems like it's really not going to work out that well that often. Generally, you're only going to have to get super close with melee characters, and if you have to get so far out of position to destroy the rift, usually it's not worth actually going out to destroy it. And then for characters like Blood Spike may be the only person that I would see having any sort of good use out of this this particular trait. Now, what should probably be done is they should take some parts of the 3 Rift traits, Rift Rocket, Rift Gift, and I believe the Pentagon one that lets you deal extra damage to rifts, Rift Away, and combine those. I don't think that they really all work separately that well. But it's just my opinion. I just don't see myself using this very much, if at all. And then we have Smashing Deals. So that's pretty much everything. Overall, there's some really strong, interesting traits here. Like one with traps, Overachiever, making it rain, and then all of the discounts. And then there's some good team play things. So this is a very interesting slot. A lot of diversity. But it has some traits in here that still definitely scream, I need to be reworked. But that's going to be triangle traits. Let me know what you guys think. If you think I got something wrong about the traits, feel free to let me know. I'd love to have a discussion about it if you think otherwise. But that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I definitely hope you learned something. And until next time, as always, have a good one, folks.